There's a distinctly New Orleans sound that's infiltrated the mainstream. It's called bounce. But what exactly is bounce music, and how did the genre rebuild a city after disaster? Today's baggage: how Black New Orleans rebuilt itself with bounce. In the late 80s and early 90s, artists from New Orleans started making a new kind of dance music. It was ecstatic, super danceable, perfect for twerking. They called it New Orleans bounce. The genre is based on a couple of simple one-bar drum beats. There's the Trigger Man beat, which comes from the 1986 Showboy song Drag Rap, and the Brown beat, which derives from the 1987 DJ Cameron Paul song that samples the James Brown. Other elements of bounce include its call and response style. And its shout-outs of housing projects and wards from around the city. We could thank Manny Fresh and Gregory D's Buck Jump Time for that one. Groundbreaking artists like MCT Tucker and Leroy Precise Edwards also paved the way for bounce in New Orleans. And we can't forget Juvenile, who brought this little-known bounce-infused song to the masses. Now, for my Gen Zers, that's Juvie's 1999 banger, Back That Ass Up, which sounds kind of similar to a track called Back That Thang Up by DJ Jubilee. Girl, who is you playing with? Back that thing up, back that thing up, back that thing up, back it, back it, back it, back it, back that thing up. He is a bounce legend, and he's also said to be the first person to ever use the word twerk in a song. In the mid-2000s, there was a new wave of bounce from queer artists like Sissy Nobby, Katie Red, and Big Freedia, who first got into bounce in middle school.
When I first heard it, I was like, oh my God, I just love this. And it was DJ Jubilee I can remember. And they used to play it at our middle school dances. And then when I went on to high school, it got even more popular. And we started having all kind of dance contests. And I'm flipping on the wall and shaking and doing all the fun stuff that I see everybody else doing.
But in 2005, Hurricane Katrina pounded New Orleans, changing everything, including bounce music. And it was this sound that helped the folks from NOLA become resilient in the wake of disaster. Y'all, this hurricane disproportionately impacted Black and low-income residents, and not by accident. We call this environmental racism. And to help me break this stuff down, let me introduce my girl, Darna Noor. She's a staff writer at Earther and has this whole environmental racism thing on lock.
What's good, Felice? So environmental racism basically refers to this set of unjust practices that make it so that people of color bear a disproportionately large burden when it comes to ecological devastation. In the US, that's tied to a long racist history of things like redlining, and it means that neighborhoods of color are disproportionately subject to the negative effects of things like water crises and air pollution and things like extreme weather, things like hurricanes. And that's all true despite the fact that, by and large, poorer neighborhoods of color contribute less to the climate crisis than their wealthier white counterparts. Hurricane Katrina was one of the worst environmental disasters of the entire century. It killed something like 1,800 people. It destroyed or damaged 800,000 homes. Almost the entire city of New Orleans was displaced. But not everyone in the city was affected equally by this. So while some of the wealthy and white residents of some neighborhoods in New Orleans checked into hotel rooms, got in their cars, drove away, checked on their insurance policies, a lot of the people in the majority Black, working class, and poor neighborhoods didn't really have the same options. So many folks were actually just forced to wait in their attics or on their roofs for days before any kind of assistance arrived. And about 60,000 of those folks were rescued, but not everyone made it. Thousands of people, mostly Black people, let's be real, were forced to spend days in these emergency shelters too, without any food or water. And to make things even worse, the feds sent in these private security firms that terrorized lots of Black residents. And NOLA police officers also killed 3 black men in broad daylight, and President George W. Bush didn't do anything about it. In fact, he actually praised the response.
As it became clear that George Bush didn't care about black people,
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
NOLA natives use bounce to entertain communities as well as advocate for them.
It's just one of those times you just want to forget, even though we know that it could happen again at any moment.
Master P released an album called Hurricane Katrina, We Gon' Bounce Back with the 504 Boys. Even the New Orleans-born mogul wasn't delivered from the wrath of Katrina.
I had to save my grandmother, a lot of my family members. They was sent to Louisville, Kentucky.
In addition to Master P's kin, about 400,000 New Orleans residents were displaced by Katrina, including bounce artists. But some of them returned to the city to build the bounce scene back up, and Big Freedia was one of them. About a year after the storm, the Queen Diva held a weekly party on the West Bank of New Orleans.
I was lucky enough to open FEMA Fridays on the West Bank, and it was the only club that was open in New Orleans, and the lines were down the streets, and the people were all around the corner, and they had FEMA money and Red Cross money, and they were popping bottles and shaking ass, and you know, the clubs were like overcapacitated, and it was just an amazing feeling. And
bounce artists weren't just rebuilding the scene in their own city. They were taking the sound to places like Texas and Kentucky, where many were relocating.
Don't let the sitcom come in.
Hassan HaSizzle Matthews calls himself the king of bounce. He's been making booty shake for nearly 2 decades. And like many other artists, he was forced to move to Texas because of Katrina. And he says that even while he was in another state, bounce music brought people together.
When Katrina was happening, wherever you heard bounce music at, and you was from New Orleans, I didn't even have to know you. I came over to you and was like, oh my God, hey, how you doing? You know, like, I'm from New Orleans too.
But as New Orleans began to bounce back, there was a bit of a demographic shift. The people who had infiltrated the city were young, white, and from the coasts. You might call them gentrifiers. In a nutshell, the exodus of bounce artists leaving New Orleans and spreading the gospel of bounce around the country, coupled with the young white folks infiltrating the scene, helps bounce music catch on. I bet you heard quite a few of your faves sampling the sound.
Bouncing around, bouncing around.
But who gets the glory of bounce? HaSizzle says that culture vultures are attempting to commercialize the sound, watering it down and not paying respect to bounce music.
Bounce music has been around for years, and the only thing that they took for bounce music was the word twerk. I would love to see me and multiple of my different artist friends as bounce artists, not just be considered as bounce artists, but artists. I won't be a millionaire like everybody else a millionaire.
So what would you say is the future of bounce music?
It's only up. Bounce music is strictly joyful, party, and joyful, have a good time type of music, and the world needs to know that. And New Orleans is just an amazing city. We was broken, but bounce music, me personally, I feel like it brought us all back together. As soon as you put it on, we all come running.
Bounce music brought resilience in the face of hardship and will not be compromised. This genre of music, created in a small corner of the country, has taken the world by storm. And it ain't stopping anytime soon.
Booty bopping, rum shaking, love making. I love because your booty shaking. I love because your money making. I love because you heart breaking.